Weird trends from the Middle Ages that have us scratching our heads. If you need perspective on your modern-day concerns, be grateful that you didn't have to live through the tumultuous and strange Middle Ages. People were still figuring out the whole being human experience in Europe, and in the process, engaging in some pretty weird traditions. From odd thoughts on moles and freckles to gross alternative hair sources, here are the strangest trends from the medieval era that we're glad never stuck. Courtly love. Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. Since their marriages were for political gain, people of the court needed some outlet to express their feelings of romance. This was courtly love, a system that allowed the royals to show affection for their crushes while remaining married. Messi Divorce. The most popular way to resolve a serious spousal dispute in Germany was trial by single combat. The unhappy couple went into a ring and fought each other, while following another bizarre set of rules for fighting. Well, whatever works, we guess. Animal laws. Animals were held to the same judicial process as humans. If they were accused of a crime, they had a trial. If they were convicted of their crime, they were sentenced to death by either being burnt at the stake or hanging. This hopefully taught the animals that crime doesn't pay. Look at those shoes. Rich people love to show off their wealth by wearing fancy clothes. For instance, European men had a period in which they all wore long, pointed shoes. The lengthiest shoes were stiffened with whalebone to hold their shape. Forehead. Ooh la la. Medieval women hated hair. They saw their foreheads as their face's central attraction. To draw more attention to this feature, they would pluck their eyebrows and eyelashes. The most devoted even plucked their hairlines into an oval. Alternate eyebrows. If a woman got tired of not having eyebrows after plucking them, she could make a pair from rodent fur. Sometimes their eyebrows stopped growing back after years of constant removal, and this was their only solution for hair. Shrovetide. The ancient English were very serious about their favorite sport, shrovetide football. Played in Derbyshire, England, there wasn't a limit to how many people could participate in the game, which would take over a town, and matches often ended in violence. Dying daydreams. Death was a major part of existence in the Middle Ages. People were concerned with making their own death as beautiful and peaceful as it could be. If their final moments were at hand, they tried to be free of despair, disbelief, impatience, pride, or avarice, and fill themselves with peace. Did you mean ox or unicorn? When the Bible was mistranslated, it compared Jesus to a unicorn instead of an ox. This idea grew around the medieval art communities, and unicorns became a major subject in their work. Jesters who jest. Jesters were given the unique privilege to say pretty much anything. Whatever they said was ruled to be treated as jest, so some even gave their political opinions to their royal audience. Playing with food. Medieval chefs loved to experiment with different animal combinations during their meals. Helmeted cock was one of these meals. They sewed a rooster on top of a pig so it looked like it was riding the creature. Feast of Fools. During the Feast of Fools in January, the upper and lower classes would switch places. A king of misrule was crowned during this raucous festival. There were parades, comedians, singing, and plenty of drinking. Festival of the Ass. Another popular yearly tradition was the Festival of the Ass. A little girl would ride a donkey into a church during service. The churchgoers would then end all of their prayers in donkey noises instead of Amen. This lasted until the Protestant Reformation. Rose of Lily. Flowers and roots were used for lipstick, especially in shades of rose of lily. These connoted a sense of purity for the wearer, didn't offend the church as much. As long as the color wasn't too bright, women could get away with wearing their homemade makeup. Blondes. Another important female trend was being blonde. Angels were depicted as blonde, and women wanted to mimic this in their humanly forms. Once they achieved their desired shade, they wore opal necklaces to charm their hair into lightness. And brunettes. For those who wanted to go brunette, there were few options. Women could cook roots and nuts and then soak their hair in the mixture. They would keep it in for 2 days before rinsing the solution. Is that a freckle? Moles, freckles, and birthmarks were associated with witchcraft at the time. There were a variety of ointments and home remedies for lightening or attempting to rid yourself of unsightly blemishes. The do in I do. Marriage traditions were much different in medieval Europe. When children reached puberty, they were ready for marriage, and weddings were often a major event with plenty of public interest. Audiences would ensure the couple properly consummated the event. See-through. Being pale was in during medieval Europe. Women would use blue ink to draw blue veins on their skin. There were also special powders to whiten their appearance. Their goal was to make themselves look almost translucent. Curing a disease with touch. One of the many diseases that ravaged Europeans was the King's Evil, a kind of tuberculosis that appeared in the form of oozing black sores on someone's neck. Until the 1700s, it was believed the only cure was the touch of a royal's hand. That wasn't an effective treatment. Space sachets. The church wanted to keep people pious and discourage bathing, so they wouldn't be forced to look at their own nakedness. To keep away some of the body odor, women would hide space sachets in their bosoms and under their legs and arms. That's what you get. Right before the bubonic plague swept through Europe, a pope had warned that witches were using cats for magic. And so a bunch of jerks killed all the cats. Because of their cruelty, flea-ridden rats quite effectively spread the illness across the continent. That's a grudge. Pope Stephen VI really hated Pope Formosius. In 897, Stephen dug up Formosius' body, put it on trial, found it guilty, and then cut off his index and middle finger, reburied him, and then retrieved the body from the fresh grave and threw it in the Tiber River. Can you imagine being there for that? What a wild ride. Party at the cemetery, bro. Need a break from the pressures of medieval life? Party at the cemetery. These served as early town halls and hosted events like elections, public trials, and even theatrical groups. Sex workers even frequented the area. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspirational stories.